Okay, good evening. Let's call together the planning board meeting for October 4th, 2023. The first thing on our agenda for tonight is to approve the minutes from September 20th, our last planning board meeting. Did everyone on the planning board have a chance to review the minutes? And does anyone have any edits or comments that they'd like to make towards those? No? Would someone like to make a motion that we accept that we approve the minutes of the
I apologize for that.
right, okay, here we go. Hello? Okay.
Turn this off. How come it doesn't stop when I?
Yeah, don't stop.
It'll stop.
Okay.
That was my grandchildren, FaceTime. Shall we do that?
It's so cute.
Why do you make it a?
Sorry about that.
Okay, so Charlie was just about to make a motion that we accept the minutes from our last planning board meeting. Second by Earl, all in favor? Aye, any opposed? Any abstained? All right. Moving right along, the next item on our agenda is the McWilliams subdivision. It is a public hearing. Are you the representative, sir, for the McWilliams family?
I am.
And you are?
Al LaRue, McMahon LaRue Associates.
Oh, are you there, Al?
I'm doing good.
Good. Okay, so what do you got? I know that you were here before.
I was here before. We've got comments. We've addressed those comments.
Looks like everything's been
And
addressed.
everything's on the plan, and so we're ready to go.
Sounds good. The planning board does have one question for the McWilliams, and I'm not sure if you can answer this or not. But the little schoolhouse that's here on the corner has never been designated. Do you?
As a historic,
Mhm.
I don't.
You know
think-
why?
I don't think Dan wants to do that, and I don't know why. Because he did talk about it. I don't know that they're totally opposed to that,
Mhm.
and they're keeping it in good shape, but I don't think that they're. This is something to just send them a note on.
Well, yeah, the concern is that it is historic.
Yeah,
That SHPO has said it's eligible to be both on the federal and the state
Okay.
registers. And we would hate in the future for anyone to say, oh, that old building and take it down if it's not protected.
okay.
And that's just an area for discussion at this point. It's
Okay.
not,
All right,
I'll
I'll let them know.
okay. And anybody else have anything that they'd like to add regarding this subdivision?
Only that perhaps the Army Corps might need to get involved.
Sometime
Regarding
in the
the
future,
federal wetlands.
yeah, in the future, yeah. If there's anything developed.
Right, if there's a site plan coming
Yeah, the
forward.
latest we're hearing on that for the board's information is regarding the Supreme Court designation. Our wetland consultant says we still have to delineate the wetlands
Mhm.
and then send it to the Corps for a jurisdictional determination. And then they'll decide if it meets the criteria of the Supreme Court. So, and it may come back and maybe just a waste of time, but still, it's something that the consultant or somebody just can't leave it off.
Right.
You can't do that.
Can't do
So-
that. Nope, can't do that.
No, he's,
Okay.
so that's the latest that I'm hearing from our consultant, because we do a lot of this. So,
Okay. Is there anyone else that would like to make any comments before we open this up to the public? Because this is a public hearing.
You addressed the question I had, which was about the little schoolhouse on the corner. That's all I had.
Okay,
nothing.
nothing? Okay, this is a public hearing. Is there anybody from the public that would like to speak before we make any more, we move forward with this?
Is there an option to look at the plan?
Absolutely. You are welcome to come up. You are welcome to look at it. I'm sure Al would not mind for 1 minute to
Not-
give you a quick overview of what's going on here. Let me turn this
Oh, thank
so
you.
that it's actually facing you.
Okay, so we received,
Oh, stop. I need to open the public hearing.
sorry,
It's opened. Now, is there anybody from the public who would like to speak? I'm so sorry. I am never, ever going to get these steps in order.
okay. So could you just explain to me, oh, there's other people that want to.
I'm just gonna need your names and addresses to also.
Sure. You want to know?
Thank you.
Okay, so my name is Colette, Colettete, Morabito, Morabito. 1100 Main Street, East Rochester.
And the other two gentlemen.
Then there's David Morabito, myself.
Morbido. Can I just inquire, what's the purpose?
Can I ask who your name and your
Dave
address?
Morbido,
Okay, your date.
Yeah.
1100 Main Street.
I got you. And it's,
Rochester.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, the purpose of it was, Dan McWilliams has never had a survey for his property. And so we surveyed the entire property and he wanted to break a couple of lots off because there's family that might want to take a look at it. So there's 3 lots involved, one lot being everything on the west side of the road and then this portion that goes up into here. Then there's a 10-acre lot in here, right on the top of the hill. And then this other lot 3 is a 20-acre lot that actually fronts on Mile Square and Prost. So it's a dual purpose, getting the overall boundary done and then creating 2 lots. And I believe at this point, they're really only family. Family lives down in Probst, I believe. Is that right? Yeah, yeah, they're here.
Okay, and so part of this includes this farmstead
Yes.
here.
Yeah,
Okay, and this farmstead includes these woods
all,
here.
all these words, right?
Okay, the anticipation of the family is to leave it.
Just like it is.
Okay, there's no solar farms or
Oh, God forbid, no,
housing tracts.
no, nothing like that.
um,
There's 2 lots that would be for sale, one 10 acres and one 20.
So these two, the one on the corner of
Right.
Probst and then the next one
Yeah,
in.
right,
So this case includes all of this.
all of that.
Okay, and this is all in Mendon? None
All
of
of-
this in Pittsburgh.
No, all amended.
Okay,
Can I ask a question? What about this piece of, this parcel going up to the town line of Pittsford?
That's this piece, though.
This
That's
piece,
all part of lot 1.
That's all together.
that's all, how far up does this go? Or not at all?
All the way to the town line.
And so is that land that they're purchasing or they?
No, that's part of the original farm.
It's just, because that's a farm now, it's.
Yeah, that's what,
cornfield,
yeah, it's all farm.
And that's
It's
what
all, it's all McWilliams, family farm, has been in there for 100 years.
so they're gonna remain, that's gonna remain as is?
Yes, it is.
could you point out to me the wetlands? I'm just curious where they're located.
There is, there's an EPOT here, which is a steep slope. There's a water course in here where the well was at one time. Over here, these are all labeled. There's a federal wetland over here, which comes around. I mean, it's right from the wetland maps, not delineated. And there's more steep slopes and that sort of thing in here. So we've delineated all that on, there's a federal wetland right here. A small area for the pond. That's there, which used to, they have a spring here that fed the house with water. That's why this little ball fall looks like that. And so. Yeah, they're all on there.
And so what is your relationship with the family?
We're the consulting engineers and surveyors that did the site.
I see.
That's us, McMahon LaRue Associates.
Okay,
Like, you sounded like a really good defense attorney.
no, I'm just wondering about all this.
You asked all the questions I would have asked.
There you go.
I'm very impressed. I don't know, as neighbors, I have no opposition or anything. Do you?
Right, I was just wondering if there was some other future endeavor that would be conducive to the area.
Oh, I wish them the very best.
No, there's no other, there's nothing other anticipated. And,
It's a beautiful piece of property.
yes, it is.
It is. Mhm.
Yeah, the back of my property on Wandering Trail looks back into a tree line and then the cornfield.
Yeah.
I'm up in this area here. I'm just north, 80 feet north of the border.
Are you one of the joiners right there?
Wandering Trail. Well, since I don't know how much you overlap.
Curry Miller,
You're right down.
Blair, Heckner,
Yes, that's
Steve.
me. I'm right here.
Oh, you're right there.
Yeah,
Okay, so there's a, right in here, there is a steep slope in that area. And you're not one of the ones that's encroaching on, because he's got some fences over here on one of your neighbors
yeah,
that's over on him by about 3 feet.
yeah. And then somebody over here, next to me, not the current family, but the previous family has some debris that goes over the line.
Yeah, maybe debris.
Which, there's school, there's been some junk left behind when they moved about 7 years ago.
Always, right?
Yeah,
Nobody owns it, so you can just throw your junk over there.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, does anybody else have any other questions regarding the
It's just the
subdivision?
elevation markers here.
Yes, it's-
Dash lines.
Yeah.
Never knew my elevation precisely
Yeah.
here. I know it's
Something
585,
580.
and I'm over here somewhere, so.
So you're gonna be about 570 going downhill.
Going downhill, yeah, but there is a steep slope going in my backyard.
Yeah,
Not if it's not
that's there.
listed.
So that's 570 feet on the upper part of the park.
There's a lot of tough drop.
Yeah. Okay. So not to be developed, it's to be left.
Oh, no.
It's just a-
No,
There's
So
also.
the Williams family is selling the property. Is that we're selling
the
it?
family is selling it to other members that
On some environmental.
are looking to build a home on this 10-acre piece or over here, we're not sure which.
Which is a 20 acre.
So the 20-acre piece, right?
Historic features.
With a peak elevation of 630 feet.
Preserve
Just curious.
as much
Yeah,
as they can.
630,
So,
right?
what we can-
Maybe your geology work is kind of important to know. So.
Oh, yeah.
it's a land.
That was one of the comments that we put on it.
It's
Sure.
thing that you're trying to keep.
And this is all wetlands now here. Okay.
Okay.
Very good.
Any other questions?
Just to make sure that that little schoolhouse remains.
Getting a copy of them at all? or-
Well, right now, we.
Because how
Right,
old
yeah.
is it? What's the year on it?
You know what? I don't know if the,
Yeah, it's kind of,
Okay, but it's county road.
It's,
70. I didn't do that either.
District 15 school. And it's eligible to be listed in the state and national registers as a historic place under the criteria that's an intact representative example of Greek revival style rural schoolhouse. So at this point, there's no construction, nobody's talking about doing anything at all with the property. And so we don't anticipate that anything's going to happen to that in the future. If someone were to move forward and actually want to build on that property, we probably, as a board, would look at that and question the people who will be building what their plan might be. And hopefully we can put some provisions in to protect that schoolhouse at that time.
So you can't start now?
I don't think that that it's prudent for us to do that right now. I think that moving forward, if anything were to come ahead, that would be the time that we would pursue that. I know the town is looking at different areas, different historic areas in the actual town as it is now. So things may change in a year, 2 years, or
And each individual lot will have to come back to this board for approval, for site plan approval.
I
So that's
see.
when you get into the nitty gritty more.
Okay, all right, yeah, it's, I mean, I grew up looking at that thing every day on the school bus. All
oh,
right, well, thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to.
Spending your precious time to explain things. to
No
us.
problem.
Okay.
that's why we have public hearings.
Okay, great, here. Take that back.
Is there anybody else who has any comment on this application?
No, this was the game who my neighbor was the rental house. I didn't know that worked so long. So.
There we go. Okay, if that is all the comments from the public, then I think we'll close the public hearing at this time. And I will ask one more time, does anyone on the board have any questions or comments that they would like to make? Yes,
Just a question for Mr. LaRue. Do you know why the right of way is bumped out down at Prost the way it is now? And then just, what precipitated that, you know?
That
I
curve,
was curious.
that curve,
Okay,
in Mount Square Road. So they widened it out in order to do that.
and then you're riding the right, there was a taking probably.
Right, with an
Okay.
appropriation, that's right.
Okay.
And an interesting point is they had ties for the point of intersection that was for that appropriation from the brick schoolhouse.
Oh, my goodness.
So, and you know, that was like 40 years ago,
Right?
but it didn't matter. The schoolhouse is still there.
It's still there. Yes, it
So
is.
we reproduced it from that,
There you
which
go.
was pretty neat, you know?
Okay. Okay, so with no further questions or comments, and I think all of our engineers questions and comments had been satisfactorily answered by Mr. LaRue. In anticipation of this subdivision going through tonight, we did ask our attorney to, a motion to close the public hearing. Jeez. Okay, we're gonna close the public hearing and we're gonna make a motion if someone would like to make a motion to close. Teresa, yes,
Are those maps available for reference?
right at the town,
You can always come in, yes,
yep,
yes.
Thank
anytime.
you.
Okay, anybody want to make a motion to close the public hearing? Teresa, and a second from Earl. Okay, all in favor? Aye, any opposed? Nope, okay. So. Moving forward. If we are all in agreement that this subdivision should be approved as presented. Our attorney has provided a determination for us. Then, do you mind just addressing the determination just briefly, and then we'll take a vote
Yeah.
on
Yep, so the determination or the resolution
resolution?
recites the application, the 3-lot subdivision. Notes that the State Office of Parks, Recreation and Historic Preservation issued a letter finding that the proposal would not have adverse impacts on historic resources. Notes that the town's Environmental Conservation Board had no objection. Notes that any future proposal will be considered at that time, including if that proposal has impacts on any historic resources like the schoolhouse. Notes that the application is unlisted pursuant to seeker, resolves to issue a negative declaration pursuant to seeker, and then resolves to approve the subdivision application pursuant to that.
Preliminary and final subdivision. Would someone like to make a motion that we accept this subdivision? Earl, second, Charlie, all in favor? Aye, okay, congratulations.
Thank you.
We'll send off the determination with the approval letter via email to both you and Dan, and then a hard copy.
Yeah, and then now I'll talk to Dan about that. Also, the other schoolhouse, yeah.
Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Great. Thank you all. Good to see you.
The next item on our agenda is the Kashnik Special Use Permit Public Hearing. This will be their second appearance. And yep, feel free to move forward and come on up, both of you if you want, doesn't matter. Yeah, I'm sure we'll need them. Oh. Get this out of the way here.
Hi.
How are you? Okay, Robert Kashnik,
Yeah. Yeah.
Al Pfeiffer, welcome back again. Let me get this out of the way because this is not you. So last you were here, we sent you away. And we had you do some work and you came back and you did the work and you're back. So welcome. So welcome back. Do you want to give us just a brief overview of what you did while you were?
So the issue was that we had on the original site plan, what was characterized as a gray water holding tank for the farm market building. And between that plan and when the building was constructed several years later, we had put in what became a septic holding tank. It was not just a sink that was feeding it, it was a sink and toilet feeding that we had emptied on a regular basis, et cetera. But we had to get the Department of Health involved and a new site plan developed and the engineer to look at all that and say, okay, this is what we have, this is what needs to be done. And so in the process, we installed a high-level alarm on the gray water tank, which is now, always was, a septic tank. And then as one of the requirements of the Monroe County Health Department. And then they had some other requirements, which, we also fulfilled with a contract with a licensed hauler, for emptying the tank when the high-level alarm went off, et cetera. And a waiver for that this can be up to 2 years to install the septic field, which was not put in, but now had been redesigned because the original site plan had we thought we were being clever and saying, hey, let's maybe have an approved building lot on this property too. And that caused several problems. So we eliminated the approved building lot, which eliminated the need for the water authority to look at a new drawing for a new water hookup and for reducing the size of the septic field required, et cetera. So we simplified it, in the process, work, had the new survey, which Rob had done, tied that in, got the new site plan, fulfilled all the requirements for the Monroe County Department of Health, got a letter from Water Authority saying, based on this, we don't need to be involved in this. You already have a water line, which is approved and as a backflow preventer, which is being tested and approved on an annual basis, et cetera, et cetera. So that's where we are right now,
Okay,
a
and
couple months later.
I know. Well, thank you very much for going in the extra mile and doing all that extra work, because we do appreciate it. And so now what's on our agenda is that we want to issue the special use permit for you to continue running the business as it has been run for the last several years. Does anyone on the planning board have any questions or comments regarding the special use permit?
They'll just be continuing operations the way they have been. We don't have to have questions.
Earl, how about you? Anything? Charlie? No? Okay, so in anticipation of this special use permit being approved, we did have a determination resolution drawn up from our attorney. He does have, I'll have him address his resolution, but he did have one of the conditions of this approval to be that the permanent farm market be operated in compliance with the applicable New York State requirements, including requirements of the New York State Department of Health. And so what that means is that this letter that the Department of Health issued extending the time on the on-site wastewater facilities for 2 years to August 7th, 2025, you would just need to adhere to that. But anyway, Don, would you like to address the resolution and then we can
The public hearing's been open. Do you want?
Oh, I didn't realize it
No,
didn't
it's
say
been
that on
remained-
here.
No, it's been remained open. You never closed at the last meeting.
Okay,
If you're gonna move forward, you're gonna.
okay, so we'll close the public hearing. All in fa-
You should invite the
Yes.
public to speak.
Oh, is there any public that would like to speak? I'm so sorry. I
It's okay.
lost that. I didn't have it on the agenda, and if it's not there, I'm just kind of gone. So would anyone like to speak regarding this application? No, thanks, Ron. Okay, now I would like to close it. Would anybody like to make a motion that we close?
Move to close the
Charlie,
hearing.
second, Earl, okay. Vote. All in favor? Any opposed? We're good. Okay. Now, Don, would you like to address your resolution to
Yeah.
the applicants?
For your consideration, there's a resolution which recites the application generally for this, the continuation of the permanent farm market. Recites the fact that, after our last meeting, they went and obtained a waiver from the New York Department of Health relative to the wastewater treatment on property. Classifies as type 2 action not subject to seeker review. And then would approve the application for the continuation of the farm market as a specially permitted use with the one condition that you read, and then just recites some of the findings of fact relative to the proposals, including that they updated the site plan, and so that the new specialty permit would incorporate the new site plan.
Okay. That's like, seem okay with the two of you
Yeah.
or with you? Okay. All right, with all that said, would someone like to make a motion that we approve this special use permit? Teresa, second? Charlie? Okay, all in favor? No, anyone opposed? No. Okay, congratulations.
I'm impressed.
I bet you were afraid. Were you afraid? Like, uh-oh, what's coming next?
Their process is a bit like,
But it's almost.
not surprised. No, it's not.
I will, I will send the approval letter to you, Rob, it's in your name. I'll send it via email and then a hard copy and then I'll go on and let you.
Okay. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, guys. Okay, our next order of business is the Donaldson Junior site plan. Do we have representatives from the Donaldson application? Would you like to move forward? You don't have to if you don't want to. You're welcome to stay right where you are. Oh, it's perfectly fine. Yes. Okay, so what we have before us here is an application from Scott Donaldson Jr. For site plan approval to build a 4,000 square foot barn, which would be located forward of the front of the home for property located at 50 Landing Road. So my first question is, planning board members, does anyone have anything that they would like to comment on this building?
I was just wondering, since it's going to be forward of the house, you have any idea of what it's going to look like? I guess since it'll be possibly viewed from the road, you know what you're using for your materials?
It's basically wood frame, vinyl siding. It's gonna be futuristic. It's not gonna be anything crude. Let's put it down. The house is brand new. The house is, he's closing the outside of the house in right now. And the reason that he's putting it, or he wants it up there, is because originally it was supposed to be on the original site plan. But we had kind of an engineer that ducked out fairly early. And we ended up switching where the pond was, where the leach fields were, and the barn up there, because this is his. He's putting a lot of money into the property. It was 28 acres and we just subdivided. And so his property and my lot. And that's how he wants it. And at the same time, it'll be very, I can get how do you put it on? Plans or pictures of what he wants, you know what I mean, what you're looking to see, but it's all, yeah, visual. It's gonna be all wood frame.
Do we have a blueprint of the building? Yeah,
I personally, I don't.
has it been designed yet?
Oh, wait, I didn't see this.
Should.
Oh,
There is a little bit of I'm sorry, there was a sketch in our packet that I didn't have earlier, so I'm just seeing this now. It looks like someone did provide it.
So basically, we're gonna do wood frame, all vinyl side, and
Yeah.
regular, you know, 3-in-1 architect, or
one of the things you're gonna have to do before you can go forward is to have a blueprint. And I think that's something we would want to see before we can agree on it. I mean, you want to put it forward of the house. And I don't think that we're able to agree to that without seeing what it is you want to put forward of the house.
Do you have this?
I do, but to me, I'd like to see a blueprint. I mean, we don't even. Do you have a contractor? Put the building up?
You know, we do it ourselves. I read the houses.
Well, I think the little rendering you provided us does help answer some of my questions that I had. The other question I had was about lighting. How are you going to be adding any new lighting? What type of lighting? Is it just going to be on the building or?
I'm sure with all see, I'm old school, the way I do everything. And my son's doing everything new age, so I'm sure it's gonna be LEDs. But because he's doing everything with totally different than what I do, it's all I can't sit siding, super high insulation, the whole thing, and doing all the whatever, everything I don't do. Which I'm not trying to be, but that's just, I guess I'm old school, he's new school.
What is your plan for the building? I mean, what is,
His plan is, it's basically just all storage, but he does everything high, high insulated, everything, he does everything super green, let's put it that way.
So he probably, what I was getting at with the lighting was there's something called dark sky compliant fixtures, which he probably knows all about that. That basically means it reduces light pollution.
So it doesn't interfere with the environment. No, totally not. I'm sure that's exactly where you at.
All right, and it'll probably just be mounted to the building, do you think then?
I would imagine. Like I said, he's very green. He wants to keep it as low impact as possible.
And then one last question for me. Do you know, it does look like there's a bunch of trees by the road. It's hard to tell from driving past it right now, but are there pines mixed in with that or is it mostly deciduous?
Most of it seems to be, hardwoods, but his thing is he's trying to, like I said, at least impact as possible. He doesn't like to touch any of this stuff.
Mhm.
He's being very, very careful of even, he's got the Hastings over there, John and Charlie, working with them, and they're working around. They're trying to work around all that stuff to keep it as environmentally the same as it is. They're trying not to do too much of an impact on the land.
All right.
It's got the one tributary up there, the creek alongside that.
Mhm.
They're trying to be careful, stay away from the wetland over on that side. They built up instead of going down because of, it's wet. And he's being very careful what he does. And he wouldn't be totally out of the realm of doing it however you want. You know what I mean, as far as visual. And you're talking to a blind guy, so visually I have no clue.
That's okay. No.
I'm just messing.
I mean, really. It's in his head, you can't see it on the paper.
No, trust me, I've been doing this for years and been blind, so I know what's going on. Like I said, my son's in Europe right now, and I'm just here trying to fill in, and he didn't give me the full whatever, but I already know how anal he is with everything else he's doing, because he's making me nuts.
oh, boy.
Because it has to be so perfect, so there you go.
Well, there you have it. I think one of the things that Teresa was, wanted to address was the screening from the road. Because it is going to be forward of the house. How much of this actual barn is, and it's quite a large barn, is going to be seen as people travel up and down the road? Is there enough screening there? Should we ask you to have more screening there?
If you want more screen, I'm sure he would be more than happy to take care of that. his big thing was too, like right across the street at 37. They also have theirs up front and it's a very large unit. And, you know, it's very tasteful, you know, it's very modern, but, you know, he's kind of using that as his.
Yeah, right, kind of his guide.
His arguments,
Yes.
yes, because he, you know, they've got their.
They've got, we should,
Same thing,
yeah,
and he's not gonna do it just tastefully, you know what I mean, in any way, it's just, he's building his forever house. And that's how he wants to do it.
and there was no place else on the property that he could put this, that he could put the barn,
He prefers it up front because that's where he wants to keep all this stuff and because of where the leach fields are, the ponds.
I did see that, yeah.
Yeah, the ponds, they switched that the other day from 2 separate ponds to one.
To one.
Pond. And worked with the fire marshal to move the, what you call it, the hydrant all the way up front, so the whole neighborhood could use it in that, you know, in a matter of emergency. And it'll be totally tasteful.
Teresa, you're kind of the expert on some of these, on the, screening individual, you're expert in a lot of areas. Would you like to see a condition of this approval to have additional screening added at the road, or?
If it's mostly deciduous trees, then I think we would need to have some pine trees in there because you would see it in the winter. And also it might be helpful to actually have landscaping to help ground the building because it's so large, just. If there's no, it looks like it's being carved out of existing trees where it's being placed right now, which would be nice if that's what the case is. But if that's not the case and it's just dropped onto open area, it would be nice to have landscaping around it to help ground the building also. But as far as the view from the road, if there are, maybe we need a plan that shows where there are pine trees located between the building and the road.
I'm sure if you put that in as a condition, there will be no problem.
Yes.
I think
Right.
that would be something that would be helpful for us to see.
And so that would be. If we need to, so do we need to see it? Does he need to come back for another to the planning board again for us to actually have a visual of that? Or is that something that we can add as a condition and,
We should see a visual on the plan,
I
so
think
the
I'd be more
building inspector has something to look at, so he knows that they're there.
okay, all right, so, okay,
This depiction of your building doesn't lock you into building this. What would lock you in is a blueprint submitted to the town. And then we would know what we were looking at. And on that blueprint, you could show your landscaping. But there's nothing that says that what we're looking at here, and I find it a little bit vague, is what will be built other than you saying that.
So, you know, boss, it's not me.
yeah,
So here's the deal, I will tell my mini-me, right? That we need a building plan and we need to know what it's gonna look like in front of that from the road.
If he's gonna go forward, then he, you know, he's gonna need a blueprint sooner than later, and I would personally like to see that. Be it that it's going in front of the house.
Are or will be on completion.
right, and maybe more of a visual of what the barn will actually look like.
That's what I'm saying, I'll get you correct.
So, and if this was not forward of the building of the home, then we wouldn't have as many, that many questions or concerns, but because it's right, because it's forward, we need to kind of make sure that, it's just,
And you're gonna want spruce trees in there.
yep, spruce trees,
Yes,
Okay.
Norway spruce.
Norway spruce trees.
You know what?
The deer pass them up.
You know
Oh,
what?
they do.
Yes, deer pass up Norway spruce.
That That's
I
kind
knew
of,
there must be a reason, sorry.
that's kind of funny because my son's on tour in Europe right now. It's like his favorite country is Norway. That's what the house is all being based on.
Ah.
So he'll get a kick out of that. Norway's Bruce, there you go.
Okay, so I guess we are going to get you or your son or both of you to come back at a future date. What are you looking at me to?
No, I'm just, because it's not junior, it's not until the end of the month, correct? I talked to him on the phone today.
Yes,
Okay. I don't know if you get it done in 2 weeks.
I'll get it done.
We'll talk. Call you Friday, I'm off tomorrow. Yeah, you're off. Okay.
So you're gonna work with Katrina regarding how soon you can get everything back together, and then we'll get you back onto the agenda, and we'll hopefully be able to wrap things up at that point.
I'll get it done.
No doubt. Okay. All right then, so. With that being said, was this a public hearing? Nope. Nope, okay. The next thing on our agenda is public comment. So I'm wondering if there are any members of the public that would like to comment, not necessarily on this application or anything moving forward. No, okay. I can't see behind the podium, but I don't think there's anybody else
I
there.
got here a little late. I just want, after we're done, I just want to look at the drawing subdivision of Mount Square. Like, I don't have any issue with it. I just.
You just wanted to look at it, okay, all right. So no more public hearing, no additional public hearing. We have general discussion. Hello, general discussion. Our upcoming meetings are Patterson, Ridgecrest. I don't know that we have a lot to say about that at this point. I know that Don and Mike worked very diligently together to try to simplify it as best as we can. Are you able to like put it in a nutshell, or would you rather just us look at review your letter and just go from there? Because I don't want to put you on the spot.
No, it's continues to be complicated, but I think we've broken it down to some comments that everybody can digest. We've got 2 weeks. We at this time don't think we know they don't qualify to do a stormwater plan per se with formal stormwater management. There was a determination by DEC that try to get it right, the original lot was at the Ridgecrest lot,
The original is, the original,
the one where the house has been there for like 5 or 6
that's
years.
Clark, so that would be the Clark site.
Right, that really doesn't fall under the auspices of this whole plan, so.
What I had seen out of that, I'd like to see the water main extended a T at each one of those right of ways going in with a valve for the future. So,
Yeah, that's something too that I think this board can talk about. They have brought the water main down
Yeah.
in front of the 4 new lots. And we were talking about maybe getting another hydrant down at that end and then that, like you said, valve it off so it can be continued in the future, so.
But that's the third phase.
Yeah,
They're not looking to do that right now. They're looking to
Correct.
just do the few houses on the phase 2 houses, yeah.
But if they do phase 2, that's part of the approval for phase 2, that the water is already there past them houses. You can't stop short. And then when he goes to the phase 3, they gotta go in front of all the houses again, the last house.
What I'm saying is they're not planning, as far as I know, to take the water main all the way down to the 3 houses.
No, not they
Yeah.
just, no.
Or the new ones that are currently before us. The 3 ones that are looking to be built.
Yeah.
Sooner than later. Yeah.
Right.
And I doubt they're gonna want to install the water main. For some time. Until they get to phase 3.
right.
Yeah.
It's the way that's proposed right now.
Yeah.
And I don't know that. We can certainly suggest they do it, but I don't think there's any, way the board can require them to put that water main in, but it is shown on, I'll call it the Patterson plan. So when that does begin their development, they need to install that water main.
and again, I don't mean to put you on the spot either, so if you don't have an answer right now, it's fine. Just curious, do you think that we have what we need from a drainage standpoint on the maps from them to proceed?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, because there's really no, they do need a formal erosion sediment control plan. But they do not break the 5 acre threshold. Again, with that 5th or 6th lot, the one that's existing.
yeah,
So the disturbance is under 5 acres, that way they don't need to do a formal. Stormwater management plan except for erosion sediment control at this
Okay.
point.
Have they done that?
It's part of their site plan.
Okay.
Yep.
I don't know, I was gonna ask you something and it just totally slipped my mind. So someone else come up with a question? No,
maybe there are none.
I will say, everything Mike can put together, and we talked on the phone between the two of you,
oh, I know.
has been forwarded on to Al. And Glenn and Battles and Nick and Scott. So everybody is in the loop, understanding that the cutoff is next Wednesday. And actually, I think I might have made it Tuesday, just for the buffer, to give you the week before they would come.
So where does this stand with seeker? This,
They,
Yeah, see, I mean, we haven't done seeker yet because we wanted them to submit all this information in order to do seeker. So. Drainage was the main issue, I think, was the primary issue.
And we did get. Trying to keep it all straight, I'm sorry, we did get comments already back from McMahon LaRue for the Batterson 4 lots. So,
yes, and Glenn had addressed, so they did the full EAF.
yes,
Van LaRue did.
Yep.
Glenn replied for Ridgecrest and copied in Battles. So that was a delay because you haven't seen Ridgecrest yet. So that was my fault of not sending it on to you. So the comments, addressing Corey's CEO comments were completed under the Ridgecrest plan, but he also encompassed the Battle in there. It's confusing because there's 3 applications, but it's one big thing. So they overlap.
right. And I believe they did revise the full EAF, they had some inconsistencies in our review. Nothing really egregious, but more or less some acreages weren't hitting up. And I believe they fixed all of that,
okay,
so.
so this should be fun. So look over everything that Katrina has been sending out. Get in preparation for our next meeting, try to get our heads wrapped around exactly where we stand.
Just wanted to remind you, I won't be here.
Yes, Tracy will be coming.
Yeah, about that, girlfriend. Yeah.
Do you think, I mean, we'll secretize the whole thing, but from an approval standpoint, should we only move forward with approving phase 2? Because I think if we approve phase 3. Then you're gonna get into like, they're gonna put a letter, maybe put security down for that pipe, right? Doesn't
You
this
mean for the water main?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, there's all this chicken and egg stuff. Which we approve phase 2, which allows them to go forward with those lots. And then,
we secretize the whole thing,
right,
both phases.
Yep.
But maybe we only approve the phase 2 for now.
well,
I don't know. It depends on what they want.
yeah, and because he's gonna need a letter of credit in place for the water and any other improvements. But the town wouldn't issue any building permits or let them start any work until that's posted, so. I don't know, delaying it is gonna do any good.
And did you not say in your letter, and I'm just trying to remember, I read it a couple days ago, didn't you say that for simplicity purposes and for keeping this moving forward and straightforward, we should proceed with phase 3?
Yeah,
That's what you said, right? That was that we should look at phase 3 and that's how we should move forward, because that will be the fastest way to approval,
yeah, and
in your opinion,
it's gonna include those other. The lower lots too,
right?
yeah, because there's. waiting to approve phase three. I don't know that,
Right,
because it's gonna be subdivided. He's got the site plan. But before he starts any construction, he's gonna need to post a letter of credit.
okay.
On phase three
Yes,
or the whole thing?
yes. No, for phase three, there's really no other improvements that the town's gonna be taking dedication of for phase two.
So it may make sense to separately approve them then.
Could do that, yeah,
That way,
right. That way, phase two is not getting wrapped into
yeah,
the Battersons, yeah. Maybe we can sort that out in the next
yeah,
few
we'll
weeks.
think about that.
Okay,
Okay. It's all separated anyways.
it is.
Hey, well, there we have it. Motion to adjourn this meeting,
I'll make a motion.
second. Second,
No?
all in favor?
Girl.
Aye. Any opposed or all set?